Hey guys, Bad Theories here. Now, today I want to talk about Shisui Uchiha. Now, I really hope I'm saying that right. Now, Shisui Uchiha was like, to me, I felt like he was he was a really good Uchiha, and due to the fact that people were speculating that he probably would have been a lot better than Itachi, probably would have surpassed him, because it's like, Shisui had like teleportation and whatnot, like, it was sick because sure Obito had like the whole time and space and he was able to go in his own dimension, but Shisui was like a teleporter. So to be honest with you, if Shisui would have fought Minato, I think it would have been an interesting fight. Like he probably would have been fast enough to keep up on his levels because Shisui was fast. But my theory is that everybody remembers the whole fight between Shisui versus Danzo, and basically Danzo took his eye, and then Shisui gave his other eye to Itachi, and then he went off and died somewhere. But what if it didn't like really go down that way? And sure, when Itachi made the deal with the Leaf Village, and he was like, "Well, if I do this, I want Sasuke to be fine, and I want him to live and whatnot." And it was like, all right, we'll let your brother stay, but everybody else gotta die. But what if it would have been like, okay, as that was going on, like Shisui basically, he was like, okay, I'm gonna look after your brother. Like you go off and you do your own thing, but I'm gonna look after him. But the thing is, like Shisui would have been in the Leaf Village. Like he would have left and would have been in hiding somewhere due to the fact because of the whole coup and the whole agreement that they had to make. So basically, he would have been in hiding, and he would have been looking after Sasuke and whatnot from the shadows and stuff, just making sure everything is fine and sending somewhat small little updates to Itachi, like, well, he's doing good, and this and that, and he's making a lot of friends. You know, keeping Itachi in the loop, because since Itachi basically, after he did all that and then he joined the Akatsuki, it was like he never really stopped thinking about Sasuke and stuff. He was just trying to like figure a way of making him stronger by using the whole, oh, you're gonna use hatred against me and stuff. But like he said in the manga and like he said in the shows, like if he would have explained it to Sasuke a little bit better, things could have turned out a lot differently. It would have turned out a lot differently. Like Sasuke probably would have understood a lot better. Sure, he still would have been like, I want to kill the Leaf Village, but he would have understand like a lot better on the situation. But Shisui over here, he basically would have been in deep hiding and just just chilling out for a bit until when Sasuke would have like grown up, like when he hit like what 16, 17, 60, yeah, like 16ish, like when he would have reached like there, that's when like Shisui would have like appeared and stuff, and then he would have been like, who are you and stuff, and then he'd be like, oh, like, do you remember me, like I'm Shisui and stuff, and he would have been like, oh yeah, like like you was my brother's best friend and stuff, and then he'd be like, how are you still alive? And then he would have explained it to him. Like I felt like Shisui would have explained just a little bit to him. Like he would have still kind of like kept like Sasuke out of the loop. He probably wouldn't have explained everything to him, but he would have explained like little small minor details to him about the whole situation. Into later on, Itachi would have explained like the rest to him and stuff, and then he would have been like, well, he would have explained like, well, Danzo, did this and that. Like, sure, he would have still went to the whole 5 Kage Saman, and then and then how all of that basically broke out into, when he eventually would have fought Danzo, and then Danzo would have had all those freaking Sharingans on his arms and whatnot, and pissed Sasuke off even more. But personally, I felt Danzo had to die, because it was like, come on, you in here robbing Sharingans and whatnot. I'm like, nah, come on, man. Like, come on, you had them on your arm, and he was basically, it was sick because he was tapping into the power and just using, what was it, Inzunagi? Yeah, I think it was like Inzunagi. Yeah, over and over, like Inzunagi. Like, as soon as he was about to die, and it was like, each eye closed, and it was like, obviously, it was kind of, you already know what they was doing. After when they freaking killed the Uchihas, they basically salvaged their parts. Like, they basically just salvaged their parts. It was just taking like on their eyes and whatnot. Like, I'm sure Danzo probably was testing out. He probably tested like hundreds of Uchiha eyes and see which was good, which was already unlocked and whatnot. Like, they was doing some crazy stuff. Even though everybody kept on saying like, oh yeah, like Orochimaru, he was doing some messed up stuff. How he had all those people in there and he was just looking for new bodies. That was sick. But what Danzo did was even more messed up, because you salvaged the parts of dead people and took their eyes. Like, come on, man, that was freaking crazy. But yeah, like freaking Shisui would have been like, he would have been that guy. And even to, I would have said, when they would have had like the whole war. Now, after war, he probably would have died, like, because it would have been so much of an interesting fight, where it would have been Shisui versus Obito. That would have been freaking crazy. Like, sure, Naruto would have been there too and stuff, and then that's when he would have showed up, and then Kakashi would have seen them, and he would like, wait, who this? And then my guy, you know, everybody would have been like, you know, who this? And then he would like, oh, my name is Shisui and whatnot, and I'm Itachi's friend. And then that's when Naruto would have been like, oh, okay. He still wouldn't have known too much until Itachi would have explained also to him just a little bit of, you know, what was going on, just a little bit, you know, because he didn't obviously tell him everything. He just only told him a little bit, and then told Sasuke what he needed to hear, due to the fact that, well, because of the slaughter of the Uchiha clan and stuff. So it was like, you know, it would have went down that way, and then freaking Obito versus Shisui, it would have been, oof. Like, he would have been doing his thing, but it would have been kind of like hard, because you're fighting, like, you're basically like, they both kind of like would have been in the same loop, due to the fact that Kakashi has Obito's Sharingan and Shisui only has like one. So it would have kind of somewhat would have been fairish, but then this dude would have had like the whole Rinnegan too, so it would have been somewhat of an even match. And two, I say later on, probably maybe Madara probably would have killed him. Took his probably would have took no. Well, he probably would have taken his well, no. Then again, he probably would have, because it's like Madara, he was all over the place. Even though he was part of the Uchiha family bloodline and all that stuff, he didn't even care. He said, "My family, what? I remember there was a time they disowned me. They didn't want no part of me." So he said, "You know what? Screw y'all. You know." But yeah, it was like you know, Shisui himself would have been like a sick guy though. Now I would have said, if he, after when Sasuke killed Danzo and he still seen his eye, and Danzo never probably would have used it, he probably would have taken back his eye. But then again, it would have never really would have made sense, because you seen Danzo use all his eyes. But it would have been an interesting thought that if he would have taken back his eye before he would have used it, or before he like tried to like kill himself and blown himself out, Shisui would have been like, teleported, took his eye out, took it right back, and not before a while. That's when Shisui would have been. He would have had his eye back at full strength and whatnot, and then probably somewhat would have been able to use his full Susanoo, which would have been crazy, because they would have needed that. I felt personally, if he would have been there with his full Susanoo and fighting the Ten Tails, it would have been crazy, because he would have been like obviously the little diversion, a little distraction, and then that's when Naruto and Sasuke would have came in and took the kill and took out Obito, and then later on, that's when it would have been just Madara, and then Madara would have came along and would have been doing that crazy stuff, and then he would have probably would have told him the same thing like he told Sasuke. So yeah, so it looks like it's just us four Uchiha left. Like, you want to come over to this winning side? And Shisui was like, nah, you good. Like, I see what I saw what you did to Sasuke. Nah, you good. I ain't with that. He like, alright, so I'm gonna kill you now. But yeah, like Shisui, I felt like he would have been like, not like the forgotten Uchiha, but he would have been like the silent, maybe like the silent assassin type Uchiha, where he would have been chilling and whatnot. And then he would have noticed when Sasuke would have went into like the whole Akatsuki, but he couldn't have gotten too close because he would have sensed like, well, there's another Uchiha here, and he's somewhat evil, and then Obito probably would have had a gist of him because obviously White Zetsu would have been like, yo, there's somebody over there, he's family, yo, and then that's when it would have had like a little. Their very first standoff probably would have been until White Zetsu would have told, and then they would have fought, but nothing would have gotten enough cross. But obviously, I felt that Shisui probably would have beaten like Obito, but he wouldn't have like beaten him to the point where he took off his mask. Not probably to the point where he would have just got into his own dimension and just left like that. And then the second fight, it would have been Obito versus Shisui, and then it would have been freaking crazy like that and whatnot. Cause it's like, nah, between those two, it would have been freaking good. But yeah, if you like what you heard what you like, please subscribe, share, do all that wonderful stuff. I catch you later.